AA. For peace of mind, we provide cover for your valuables outside of the home once they're specified on your home policy. Go online to the aa.ie.
Scattered showers overnight, the heaviest of them in Atlantic counties with a risk of hail. Lowest temperatures of 4 to 7 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette, we don't just play the game, we change it. Gillette, made of what matters.
This is News Talk.
Yes, indeed. It is Thursday night. You're very welcome along to Off the Ball. It's Adrian with you between now and 10 o'clock this evening. And we have a stacked show coming your way as rugby comes to terms with quite a pivotal moment in the history, indeed, of the sport. We're going to talk to Brendan Driscoll about the revelations this week in relation to the concussion cases that are going to be taken in a civil action lawsuit in the UK. And indeed, it looks as if it may involve several Irish players. So we'll get to the bottom of that, as well as, of course, looking at the rugby on the pitch this weekend with the company Brendan Driscoll coming away a little bit later on. It's Thursday night, so John Giles will be here to talk all things football. We'll be talking Manchester United. We'll be talking Caoimhín Kelleher and the passing as well of Paolo Rossi today, the Italian legend. So that's coming away a bit later. Johnny Ward is currently watching Dundalk and Arsenal. 7 minutes gone into the second half here, and Arsenal leading by 2-1, and it could have even been 2-2 at the break. But a pretty scrappy opener for Arsenal, and Kedia with that. And Nenny, spectacular second, and then Jordan Flores not long after that made it 2-1, and Dundalk very much in the game there at the Aviva 7 minutes into the second half. We'll have Johnny's thoughts on that and the wider League of Ireland as well. He reckons the Shamrock Rovers team are the maybe the best of all time in the League of Ireland, so we'll get his thoughts on all that and plenty more besides. And Catherine Batty of the Daily Mail Sport will be along to talk Manchester Derby, WSL and plenty more besides as well. So that's all coming your way. As mentioned, it's a stacked show. Richie McCormack, good evening to you.
Hey Adrian, it's unusual for Johnny to be making grand pronouncements about Shamrock Rovers and their quality, but yeah, I'll stand by and listen to what he has to say here. Best of all time. They played a 20-game season or 21-game season this time round. There's no real accurate indicator to say that they're far and away ahead of certain other teams that would have gone before them, certain other Shamrock Rovers teams among them as well. Like any other sport this year, you can't necessarily say that the best is the best we've ever seen.
Johnny can, though. That's the beauty of the man.
He can, and he can be wrong because it's Johnny. But we're kind of used to that.
We'll get his hot take on that, no doubt, just after 9 o'clock. And Joe Molloy, you're normally sat here, and I'm regularly sat there. Good evening to you.
Adrian Barry, hello.
What's happening?
Not much.
You a bit nervous?
Little bit, I like being in your seat where I'm in control and I can decide what we talk about and don't talk about. So, that lack of control, Adrian, I'm just going to have to let go, roll with the punches.
There will be a few of those coming your way in just a couple of moments. But it says here on my screen that I'm contractually obliged to ask you about Golf Weekly, which is recorded today. So, there you go. I've fulfilled my part of the bargain. What nonsense were you on about? Who have you got on? Why should people check it out?
Well, that's a disgraceful way to bring up Golf Weekly.
Obliged to ask about it.
I take it from Richie. I won't take it from you. Do you know we did the part we enjoyed the most? Because golf is obviously quieting down a touch at the moment. We talked to Andrew Cotter, who really must be up there in terms of greatest broadcasting voices, sporting or otherwise. We talked to Andrew Cotter about his late great colleague Peter Ellis. So he was on with us for about 25 minutes and gave us a really nice sense of working with Peter, Alice's brilliance, and it was good. It was nice way to kind of pay tribute to him. So it was good.
Have you indulged in much Peter Alice nostalgia this week? There's lots of it. Yeah.
I mean, the inappropriate stuff tends to have lived the longest on Twitter. So look, I was always a huge Alice fan. I thought he was genuinely brilliant. I mean, quite often when we pay tribute to broadcasters who've passed on, I kind of think sometimes they're a bit overrated. I don't think that was the case with Alice. I think he was genuinely very, very special. I don't think we'll see his likes again. He was a craftsman. He was a craftsman, and he was just so bloody comforting and intimate a companion to watch golf with. I saw John Cleese tweet over the weekend. It was a great line. He said that he could handle the world ending as long as Peter Alice was commentating on it. And I thought that was a nice way of putting it. So, I thought Alice was seriously good. Maybe in the last decade or so when golf really moved into kind of more statistics and strokes gained putting and swing speeds and all that kind of business. He didn't have time for any of that malarkey, as he might have called it himself. And you know, that has its place in the game for sure. And I find that stuff interesting. But I was always more than happy at Masters time to spend an hour or two with Peter Allis. He was like an old friend in some respects. And you know, it should be said as well, 89 years of age, he commentated on the Masters just last month and would have been at Augusta commentating again, I suspect, into his 60th year behind a microphone for BBC. So like, that is an insane career.
Exceptional. A great companion is a lovely way to put it. And if I could point people in the direction of one piece of content to get their hands on Peter Allis and understand what he's about, is the Hall of Fame speech from, I think, 2012. It's an incredible watch, and it's not all that long either. It's 15 or 20 minutes.
There was a brilliant line from, I know BBC tweeted out their tributes to him, and I think they'd been in the can because I think there was from a documentary about Allis from a few years ago, and one of them was from Steve Ryder saying that he either goes into the commentary booth with a notepad full of one-liners or quips or quotes or whatever, because if he comes up with them, or if he came up with them now, sadly, off the top of his head, then he's a genius. And I think he fell into the latter category. He was just one of these people who was supremely gifted on the microphone. And the thing that got lost in it all, like I mentioned it as well on Sunday when he passed, Allis during his playing career was an exceptionally good golfer, like unusually good. And that never came across on the microphone. He was just there to guide you through the day's play and tell you what was going on course. And he never really got bogged down in the, well, in my day kind of stuff. There was a little bit of that, but it was all joshing. There was never a sense of he was better or superior than anybody else. He was just there to guide you through. And he's part of that little group of voices that accompanied sports during its absolute zenith in terms of viewership on TV, that are one by one falling away via one reason or another. And the untimely passing is usually the means of them now. And there's a lot being lost when those people go, you know.
Yeah, and the next generation will have theirs. And like you say, definitely listen to him. You would never have known that he played the golf to the level that he did. We're going to do something a little bit different now, because we do want to make the most of the fact that I'm sat here and Joe's sat there, and it's a very unusual circumstance. And I think that the listeners and our viewers, Joe, I think that they tune into you so regularly. I think that they think they know Joe Molloy, right? But I mean, I think that maybe there's a little bit more that we could give them, and no better opportunity than right now. So for most of today, we haven't really focused very much on the production of tonight's show, so we're not 100% sure what's going to happen after 7:30, but we've put a lot of thought and effort and detail into a little number we're going to call At Home with Joe Molloy.
Oh my God.
Wow, that music is special.
Nothing else happens from here on out. I know we know you're here for the sport, by the way. It's still Dundalk 1, Arsenal 2. If anything happens, we'll let you know. But there's other important business to be looked after here. We've set a little challenge here. It's 10 questions, Joe, of which you've no idea of any of them, bar one that we give you a little bit of a heads up on. And so we'll come to that one in a little bit. But just to give our audience, give the OTB fans out there a bit of a sense of exactly who is Joe Molloy. So 10 questions, a couple of easy ones to get you up and running, Joe, just to get the motor started. So we'll start with question 1. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
I would have put you down for a tea, man.
This is an all-time low.
Favourite biscuit, Joe, number 2? What have you got for us?
Oh, favourite biscuit, what would I like? Viscount.
Oh,
Left field call.
Left field, but I mean, I'm coming from Joe Molloy, not that surprised. Richie, what would you be having there? What would your biscuit of choice be?
A nice coated chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, chocolate hobnob. I don't know why we're getting so. Yeah. Why are we getting so highfalutin there? Or like individually wrapped Vicons, Richie. That gives you that. When I said we're going to get to know a bit about Joe Molloy, I think that gives you as much of an insight as you'd need to have.
Oh dear, this has gone badly.
Do the ironing or shine your 9-iron? Ironing or shine your 9-iron?
Well, that's obvious. Sorry.
Is it?
I feel like ironing's safer. Ironing.
I think we all know the answer to that one, Joe. Right, we'll get into the weeds of this now. Here's a tricky one for you. The Guardian or Daily Mail gossip column?
It's actually called the Daily Mail Showbiz, and I would go for Daily Mail Showbiz, I think.
I mean, I think your answer there before you even gave the answer was indication enough.
Can't help it.
What is it? What attracts you?
Everything and anything. The
Shiny
pictures, the comments, all of it. It's a daily check-in, the Daily Mail showbiz section. Rest of the Daily Mail, I can take or leave, Adrian.
Favourite takeaway, Joe?
Pizza, all the time, every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Stodgy, sort of like.
Yeah, stodgy with wedges, with garlic bread, the works.
Have a cold the next day?
Every weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Masters or the Open?
Masters, hands down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tricky one here now, Joe. So we'll give you a couple of seconds on this one. The Heineken Cup or the Champions League?
Champions League.
Oof.
Heineken Cup 10 years ago. 15 years ago, maybe Heineken Cup, but ain't what it was.
4 dinner guests, Joe, past or present, who are they? Let's have them.
This was the question. So
who is it?
I don't know. I jotted down. This won't go down well. Okay, this won't go down well. But I have some questions for Tiger Woods I would like to ask him.
That's okay.
So I stuck down Tiger. I figured Albert Einstein could be kind of interesting. You know, give me a sense of the world, Albert. Interesting man. After that, I was struggling. Look, I don't bloody know. This is ridiculous. I had jotted down, and I had jotted down Jesus Christ.
Right. That's a good one. You'd have a few questions from, let's face it.
I'd have a few.
Himself and Tiger
and
with some chat.
There were a few dictators which crossed the mind, you know.
Like what were you bloody thinking, sort of thing?
Well, just to get a sense of them. What's going on here? Daniel Day-Lewis crossed my mind. Massive Daniel Day fan.
Sure.
I was thinking that we need some female company at this dinner table as well. I was thinking the Obamas would be good fun. 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good shout.
That's all I'm giving you so far on that, Adrian. I'll come back to you with hardcore names on that. But yeah.
Would Jesus Christ be into pizza is probably one of the biggest questions I have out of all that.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Pepperoni man. The Dubliners or Dermot Kennedy?
Jesus is a pepperoni man. I'm getting that a t-shirt.
Ding dong.
I mean, I don't know, would I massively be either? Is that sacrilege to say that? That's
It
sacrilege
is a little bit. It was more of an indication, Joe, are you old school with your music or are you into the newfangled stuff?
Oh, well, then Dubliners.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And question number 10, last but certainly not least, Roy Keane or Mick McCarthy, Joe? Ding dong.
Oof, that's an interest. I mean, are we talking specifically Saipan here? Or just
we're not talking anything. It's just you interpret. Take that as you will.
Tell you what, 17-year-old Joe Molloy in 2002, it was a very simple answer, and it was Roy Keane. I think the subsequent 20 years have probably nudged me the other way.
Wow.
Although Roy at the Bord Gosh Energy Theatre. Is it the Bord Gosh or the Bord Gosh Energy?
Yeah, no, Bord Gosh Energy Theatre,
I have to say, behind the scenes, and obviously, look, there were some combustible moments on air, but he was very charming and very likeable, you know. But I think Mick has been, dignified figure over the last 20 years. Although then he was in Sky talking about Stephen Kenny. I didn't like that. Don't know. I think in the main, a little bit more over to Mick's side at this stage, Adrian.
I think our viewers and our listeners have got an incredible insight.
I think
That's at home with Joe Molloy. I don't know how I feel after that, Joe.
I feel dirty. The sad thing is, the only people left listening are your pair, your folks and my folks.
They'll be like, that Joe Molloy is a great fella. His parents from Mayo, aren't they? Oh, what a chap that fella is.
Yeah.
That's my only barometer of anything that my mother has.
Have I missed? Maybe the listeners will text in or tweet in. Have I missed an obvious, how could you not have that person at your dinner?
I think you went for Hitler, Mussolini, Tiger Woods, Jesus Christ, the Obamas. You had pretty much everything covered off, Joe. I'm not going to lie.
Einstein.
Yeah.
I was thinking Leonardo da Vinci, but then there's the language barrier. See, I overthought this thing.
You thought? I mean, we only gave you 15 minutes, and you've overthought it significantly.
Who would be the number one at yours? Number one.
I haven't given this 1 second thought.
Maybe that's the best way to do it, because Tiger jumped into my mind straight away.
I'd be very tempted, but probably disappointed by Bob Dylan.
Oh, that's a great one. It depends what mood he was in.
Do you know, anybody watching The Crown?
Finished it.
Finished it.
Great.
So I'm sort of halfway through season 2, I think, at the minute, where Philippe gets to meet the astronauts having come back from the moon and all that.
Neil Armstrong, and he's very excited about this. Yeah.
And without ruining anybody's enjoyment of The Crown, if they haven't got this far, they really don't live up to the hype. And I suspect it was more of a reflection of his own, where he was at in his life, obviously. But there could be a bit of that. I suspect there'll be a lot of that with Bob Dylan. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You can get a word out of him.
I was thinking you could get deep with Bruce and have some really good chats with Bruce.
That'd be good, yeah. Leonard Cohen. Richie?
McCartney, anybody?
Paul McCartney.
Great.
No.
What's he like, Richie? Would he bore the shite out of you?
I don't think so. I think McCartney would be good crack. Be good value. Tom Waits would be a good man, actually, for the stories as well.
Yeah. That deep voice. I think, Joe, as you said, we've put the listeners through the ringer enough on this one. I should update people that Arsenal have gone. Have they gone? Has it been ruled out?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
3-1 up. Conceded some scrappy goals. Dundalk in the Europa League this season. That's not the worst of them, but definitely avoidable. 3-1 up and not long to go. But another.
Barry.
What?
I was just thinking, me and Richie put in a lot of work Monday to Wednesday to try and build this thing up. Do you know what I mean? To try and really, get the show on the road. And single-handedly, in about 15 minutes, you've just all over the whole thing.
Is it this only been 15 minutes? Right, 3-1 up for Arsenal. I need to remind you that you're watching, in case you're under any ideas that you're watching something else entirely. This is the Newsround and Off the Ball, and let's say we're here with thanks to Gillette. We don't just play the game, we change it. Gillette, made of what matters. We've lots of actual sport coming up, but later on, do get involved with your texts as well. We want to hear from you. At home with Joe Molloy, if you have any responses to that you want to get into us, shoot them on in. But Richie, you're going to kick us off with the Newsround tonight, and it is a bit more detail on that Dundalk game.
Yeah, 10 months after it began, Dundalk's season finally coming to an end tonight. They're well into the second half in the Europa League Group B game at the Aviva Stadium, where Dundalk trail Arsenal by 3-1. Arsenal took an early lead through Eddie Nketiah. Mo Elneny doubled that with a fantastic long-range effort. But Jordan Flores back in the starting 11 tonight after a great appearance off the bench on Sunday in the FAI Cup final, dragged Dundalk back into the game with a fine goal himself. And Darragh Leahy could have levelled just before half-time, but Arsenal have gone 3-1 up in the past few moments through Joe Willock. Elsewhere in that group tonight, one game outstanding as well, with Molde 2-1 up away to Rapid Vienna. Now, there was also a 5:55 start in Poland, where at the moment it's currently Lech Poznan 0, Rangers 1. Cedric Itten with the goal for Steven Gerrard's side. So as things stand, they will go through as Group D winners. The other game in that group is currently level at 2-2 with Standard Liège and Benfica in Belgium. Rangers just need to better Benfica's result tonight to finish top of that group. Leicester and Tottenham are looking to finish top of their respective groups as well tonight. Leicester entertain AEK Athens and need to fare better than Braga do against Zorya, while Tottenham face Antwerp in North London. And after last week's 3-3 draw away to Lask, Spurs boss Jose Mourinho claims some of his players were unmotivated by the Europa League group stage, and he's been explaining exactly what he meant by that.
They will, from my experience, they will face this competition seriously with the progression to the knockout phase. But the overall feeling is that in a group of 6 matches, we are going to qualify. We can lose 1 match or 2, or we can draw 2 or 3. We are going always to qualify because we are a team with good potential for this group. And I think that puts the focus and the energy more in the Premier League than in the Europa League. And I think this is what happened. At the same time, maybe there is a sense of some of the players, they think I'm playing this match, but I should be playing against Arsenal or I should be playing against Chelsea, and instead of face the game really professionally and saying, this is my game, this is the game I have to perform. I think there is a little bit of relaxation, but in the end, no drama, because we did good enough to qualify, and hopefully tomorrow we do well to win the game and to finish first.
the Dundalk stuff, there's still 3-1 down, 20 minutes to go there, as Richie's been saying. The entire campaign, Joe, I have to say I've really enjoyed watching Dundalk over the last number of months. I'd like to see more of it. But they've obviously not got a point out of it, and they don't get the financial benefit out of that or any of the other benefits. What's your take on Dundalk's run over the last, what did Richie say, 10 months?
I mean, in 2016, they were a better team and they had 4 points on the board after 2 games. So by comparison with that, it's been okay-ish. You know, I think an Irish team, you take Molde last week, they have a budget of 11 million. Dundalk have a budget of 2 million. An Irish team to compete at that level has to be really humming. And I don't think Dundalk are. I mean, they wouldn't have changed manager during this year if that was the case. So it's been okay. They certainly haven't been embarrassed. They certainly haven't looked, you know, drastically out of place. There was that away match in Vienna where bar goalkeeping errors, they quite probably and possibly would have won that game. So it's been, you know, okay to good by comparison with 16. But the broader point I agree with. I mean, it's been brilliant to have an Irish team to kind of focus on and tune in on a Thursday evening. It just changes, you know, our relationship with the Europa League.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's great in that sense. And God, if we could even just aspire to make the group stages even every second year kind of thing in the short term, that'd be quite something.
Be something else. Celtic, Richie?
Yeah, their miserable campaign in Europe comes to an end tonight with the visit of Lille to Parkhead. Should mention as well that Rangers have gone 2-0 up away to Poznan. Tributes have been paid to Italian football legend Paolo Rossi, who's died at the age of 64. The former Juventus and Italy striker succumbed to lung cancer last night. Rossi top scored in the 1982 World Cup with 6 goals, a tally that included a famous hat-trick in the 3-2 win over Brazil in Barcelona. At club level, he won a pair of Serie A titles with Juventus and was part of the side that beat Liverpool to win the European Cup at Heysel in 1985. Italian President Sergio Mattarella, his 1982 captain Dino Zoff and Pele are among those who have paid their respects to the goal poachers supreme today.
Yeah, I was looking, Trapattoni had a tweet, I presume it's the actual Trapattoni, about players shouldn't be passing before their coaches. I think it was the rough translation of it. It was a lovely thing, and it's a good chance. Obviously it's tragic, the very young man, and everybody obviously goes back and indulges themselves, Richie, on 82 and like the quality, and a bit of controversy before that tournament as well about him being back at all.
Yeah, he'd been banned for essentially for betting irregularities and stuff. So, the similarities, the parallels, I guess, between the 82 and the 2006 World Cup campaigns for Italy are huge. But he just massively announced himself, and it's a very weird thing. Like, I don't know, there are other people out there probably do the same. You kind of measure life in terms of World Cups. Like, I happen to be born between the semi-finals and the final of that one, so I look back on that one as being, you know, year zero essentially, and Paolo Rossi defined everything about that World Cup. That magnificent game in Barcelona against Brazil, when a rather decent, functional Italian side outdid the guile and the elan of Brazil on that day and put them away and beat them 3-2, and went on to beat Germany, of course, then in the final. And Rossi was central to all of that, because without his goals, that World Cup doesn't happen from Italy's perspective. And, you know, it's almost one of these cases where at that time, performance in World Cups was, you know, generally accepted as being the pinnacle of world football. I don't think that's not necessarily the case now, but with Rossi then, he had gone to the zenith. He had gone to the mountaintop. He'd scored 6 goals. He was top scorer. He won the World Cup, and kind of, you don't need to do anything else after that. Your name is etched in stone forevermore, and it's a hell of a legacy to leave.
Yeah, that's for sure. With some people in contact on a much lighter note in relation to our At Home with Joe Molloy. Jimmy McGee would be a great guest, says Kieran in Cork, and then a random texter says Gandhi, John Giles, Adolf Hitler. He went in there, Joe. Were you, to be fair to you, held back? And Mary McAleese. That would be quite the lineup. And Joe Molloy, I don't know if it's the real Joe Molloy or not, but trying to distance himself from the entire sorry mess.
Yeah, that was me.
It's too late for that, Joe. We're in too deep. We better get that last story away, Richie. So the GA are looking for people to cool the jets.
Yeah, they're urging supporters to enjoy the coming week's All-Ireland finals in a safe and sensible manner. All inter-county deciders are going to be played behind closed doors, of course, starting with Sunday's hurling final clash of Limerick and Waterford. They say lessons have been learned from club final celebrations that forced the suspension of county championships. Meanwhile, Stephen Cohen says Mayo have learned their lessons of their own from watching Dublin this year. The sides meet on Saturday week in the All-Ireland football decider, and Cohen says Mayo can indeed match the Dubs' intensity.
It's hard plays regardless of who you're playing, because you're working so hard. The shape that we're in at the minute, the players that we have, the calibre of player we have, the fitness levels, the strength we have, the power, it's something that suits our game. So we don't need any motivation to play that way, because we know it's what works for us. obviously, you're saying there Dublin have a lot of control in games, and we'd like to think that we're going to have a lot of control in the game as well, but that remains to be seen. We'll see it on Saturday week. But I think if you can apply enough pressure on any team, they won't be as comfortable, regardless of who you're playing. So, again, we're just focusing on ourselves and trying to make sure that we can get the max out of ourselves for the 70 minutes.
Richie, Joe, we must do this more often.
Absolutely, Adrian.
At home, Richie McCormack the next time, I think.
There's some questions coming your way next time you're on, FYI.
Thanks, lads. Enjoy the rest of the game.
All right.
Enjoy the football later on. Thanks a lot, Richie and Joe there on the line on Thursday nights off the ball. There's 15 minutes to go at the Aviva. It's Dundalk 1, Arsenal 3 there. All this week, by the way, and off the ball, we're giving you the chance to win some tasty non-alcoholic beer plus €250 in cash. So Beer is the new Irish non-alcoholic light lager. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals, designed to improve immune health. It's brewed using all natural ingredients because it's nearly Christmas. So Beer have a month's supply to give away each day this week, along with that €250. And to enter, we just want you to tell us who is this mystery voice, loves this time of year because he has an excuse to watch Bruce Willis's performance in Die Hard over and over again.
Half part mad and half part passionate.
Who could it be?
Half part mad and half part passionate.
And just text your guess, your answer to 53106, and we're going to announce our winner before the end of the show. And all of that with thanks to So Beer. You can see so.beer for much more on all of that. We've John Giles next.